Yo, 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 what's up, Chicago Bears fans? This is Chicago Bears Sports Talk. Michael here. I want to before we begin, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I know I don't do these often. Trust me, I fucking I try to do these. But let's start with how this Bears season went for a majority of the year. First off, we're going to talk about how what the real problem was for the Chicago Bears. And I've seen this on Twitter, I've seen this on X, I've seen this on Instagram, I've seen this on Facebook. Well, I haven't seen this on Facebook, but the main problem with the Bears was coaching. It was every time I do that, but every time the uh, we always put it on the former quarterback. We said it was Cutler's fault. We said it was Mitch Trubisky's fault. It's Justin Fields' fault. We don't hold the head coaches accountable until we bring in another quarterback, and then we see how bad the head coaches were, and then we start holding the head coach accountable until we get a new head coach. And then, like I said, I have to say the real problem was Matt Eberflus. Okay. That's number one I want to bring up. The real problem was Matt Eberflus because you're seeing how this team is with a new head coach, um, that was known for having a top offense on the Lions. Then let's go to Caleb Williams. And I'll say this. For a quarterback that went through Waldron, that's number one, the got fired. And then he had another coordinator, Thomas Brown, but he got promoted because Eberflus got fired. And then he had another offensive coordinator. I don't know the name. Maybe some Bears fan can remind me who was who was Caleb Williams' third offensive coordinator that he had. And then, once the season ended and they didn't promote Thomas Brown to be the head coach, to be the permanent head coach, they go with Ben Johnson, and Caleb Williams as another offensive coordinator. That is four offensive coordinators that Caleb had to go through in just his early year, and especially with the article that came out in September where it said I knew for a fact that Caleb and that was I don't know, people, some people say it was that was his father talking. Some people say it was his agents. At the end of the day, I know there was a whole conspiracy of Caleb Williams having second thoughts of joining the Chicago Bears. And why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Because he knew the team didn't know how to develop quarterbacks, and like his father said, his father said Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die. And yes, and a lot of articles came out saying that Caleb had to study film all by himself because of the simple fact that his head coach Eberflus did not want to study film with him, or was it? Yeah, either way. And they said Waldron also didn't want to study film with him. Also, that's why Caleb spent majority of his rookie season watching film by himself, as his father said, which is an indictment. It's an indictment on the coaching staff, and it's also an indictment on Ryan Poles for putting together that coaching staff. Then you saw how it folded. The Bears started off that year 4-2. It was 4-2. Or no, it was 5-2. Yeah, 5-2. And then they had that Hail Mary against that Washington did on them, and then that sparked the 7-game losing streak, and then would have defensive collapses, Eberflus not knowing he had a timeout, and like I said, that the line. I know people blamed Caleb, but at the same time, he was a rookie. He's not gonna know that. But like I said, that just proved how incompetent Matt Eberflus was because uh, a competent coach would know that your quarterback is just a rookie and he had a timeout. And he just got sacked. Like the circumstances was just getting sacked. There was like 36 seconds left, and you had a timeout. Use it and see if you can, try to do sideline play. But with how badly and dysfunction the Bears have been throughout Caleb's rookie year, and you would, like I said, and plus people forget that the Bears statistically ruined his rookie year because Caleb was on pace to get sacked. He was almost becoming the most sacked quarterback in rookie history. Don't believe me? Look it up. There's like 3 quarterbacks that have been sacked in their rookie years, and they had the most sacks. Tim Couch is number 1 because I believe he had 66 sacks. Then I believe second is Caleb Williams. Number 3 is Bryce Young. And do you want to know what we always said? This bad offensive line can ruin a quarterback because of how the mindset is. Because we don't know. Like I said, I'm not a quarterback expert. But even I can understand the quarterback's mindset after a terrible offensive line and how you see how that turned out. And for that, I gotta say I'm impressed for how Caleb handled going through this year. With the offensive line is much better than last season for the Bears. And he was able to put up. Let me go look at the stats real quick for Caleb. I have them on my tab. So his rookie year, he had. Let me go away. Go away. I don't give. So his first year, he had 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and had 3,541 yards. And I understand on paper that didn't look good, but it was semi impressive for the stuff that he went through. And this year, he totaled he went over his touchdown. He had his rookie year by 7. His interceptions he had 7 interceptions, but he has 3,942 passing yards. And with that, I gotta say I'm impressed. Gotta give credit where credit's due. There's some stuff he needs to work on. There is some times where Caleb's been inaccurate this year. Or no. There's problem. Caleb needs to work on his accuracy, and he needs to work on his completion percentage. Because I believe during the Browns game, when it was the first drive, they brought up he had the second worst completion percentage in the NFL, and he has the most batted balls down in the NFL. And the only time he's only first in comeback drives, which is more than Peyton Manning. So I gotta say, there's some stuff he needs to work. I'm not okay. I want to be one thing clear, and there is 2 people that I'm not worried about, but the Bears. And surprisingly, Caleb Williams is one of them, and Ben Johnson is one of them too. All right. My concern really is how the defense is going to be, because Ryan Poles likes to build his team for the draft brick by brick and has always relied on the draft. Okay. And I'm understanding we won a playoff game, yada, yada. But at the same time, this year, and I've said it before, even after the 2-0 start, I said this year before we were in talks about playoffs. Now we're talks about the Super Bowl. I said this year the wins and losses do not matter. It's about how Caleb Williams develops in his second year. And after that 0-2 start, y'all were on the fire Ryan Poles train with me. But like I said, I am happy that we're winning. I want to make that clear. I am happy the Bears are winning. I'm happy that the Bears finally lived up to Ryan Poles' word that he didn't deliver for the past like 4 or 5 years. He's been 4 years he's been with the Chicago Bears. I'm fine. I'm happy that he's lived up to the promise of taking the North and never giving it back to come to fruition. Now to never give it back is a different is going to be the story of how the Bears are going to be next year because they have a hard schedule. And shout out to the Windy City Productions for saying this. This season is going to be the worst team Ben Johnson's ever coached, which actually is not a bad thing if you think about it, because if the team is bad, is like the worst in the Ben Johnson era, then what do you think is when we can get a bunch of pieces and then pretty much can build a championship contender? Because you gotta also, like I said, you can root for your team, but just know that your team is not as perfect as you could be, because this year has been in a roller coaster for majority of the time because the Bears have been in one score games and they have always managed to win. And pretty much, yes, you could say the luck, but at the end of the day, this is what helps a quarterback learn how to win. And there have been times where Caleb's delivered, and there's times where like you have to defend Caleb, and there's some times where you don't defend Caleb. Like his like the Ravens, and I'll bring up one of the losses. The loss against the Ravens was on Caleb because he he pretty much didn't do shit for majority of the game, and he threw the game losing interception, which set up Baltimore to score their final, arguably their touchdown to steal the game. And there's times where Caleb is in a shootout and his defense folds like the Niners, where Caleb had his best game as a Bear. Yeah, it was a loss, but arguably his best game as a Bear, and he lost because the defense couldn't stop Brock Purdy. Like there are times where you defend Caleb, and there's sometimes where you don't defend Caleb. And like I said, you should be okay with criticizing players as on a daily. I can humbly say that Caleb is looking impressive, but there's some things he needs to work on. Okay, there is no such thing as a, like I said, I know there's not a perfect quarterback, but I want this to be a learning lesson to most of Bears fans or some of the NFL is coaching matters a lot. And Ben Johnson, I believe, saved Ryan Poles' job because Ryan Poles should have been fired, especially with the articles coming out. And if you read with how dysfunctional Caleb Williams' rookie year has been, you would have agreed with me that the Bears should have moved on from Ryan Poles, because if you look at the articles that came out in September, you would say, yeah, the Bears should have fired Ryan Poles, which Ryan Poles was very fortunate that the Bears ownership believed in him enough that they gave him another year and gave him one more chance to make the right hire of a head coach. And he landed that with Ben Johnson. And now it's looking like Ben Johnson has saved his job. So that proves to you how much Ryan Poles has definitely earned back a lot of trust in the Bears fan base. So pretty much, if we're looking at it from a pinpoint perspective, the Bears have been impressive, but they have to establish some of their issues in the offseason. So look at it from a pinpoint perspective. And yes, am I saying Caleb Williams is a top 5 quarterback? I'm not saying that. He's probably up there, but he's not top 5 with most of the quarterbacks. But you at least got to look at it. And shout out to David McNiner, who's probably watching this. There are quarterbacks who have shined and then they fall off. So next year 3 is going to be the year where we truly see if Caleb Williams truly lives up to the potential that he was drafted because he was the number 1 overall pick, or he's just another quarterback that was that the Bears took the shiny new toy. Those are two things. And pretty much people always say, "Oh, do you believe he's the franchise quarterback?" I believe he is for now. He is that because a lot of things could change. He could digress. Because people forget we were 12-4 with Matt Nagy one year, and then we were 8-8 with him the following year. And Trubisky regressed, and we got rid of Trubisky despite having a winning record with him. So you can, like I said, it's never bad to criticize a player if they're playing bad. Like, I never went a game without criticizing Caleb. I never went a game without giving him credit where credit's due. So you got to evaluate. And then, like I said he has to work on his chemistry with DJ Moore. And then it's looking like ever since I said that, Caleb Williams and DJ Moore have been connecting because I said I won't be because I said in that video, Caleb has to know what DJ Moore is because DJ Moore has not been looking good. So, but if we're like I said, he's this is the first time DJ Moore has ever had a winning record in Chicago in his entire career. Not denying DJ Moore's happy because he has a win. But like I said, there were times where DJ Moore wanted Caleb to throw the ball to him, and Caleb decided to go to another route because. And it's looking like ever since I did that video, they've been, connecting because DJ Moore has caught the game-winning touchdown in both games against the Packers. So if you look at it from perspective, DJ Moore, I think, is not going to be traded. There was a point where we said he could be traded because he hasn't been connecting with Caleb. And pretty much the only person that I may see gone is Cole Kmet. Like I said, that's the only player I see gone. But like I said, the Bears need to establish trading for a edge rusher, and they need to find out who's going to be their starting left tackle because Ozzie looks like a very good left tackle, and they got Theo Bennett, which is as a good depth piece. And like I said, this offensive line's been good with injuries, but the problem is Caleb needs to work on a lot of things on his accuracy. He's also got to work on his completions, and he's also got to learn that you can't wait until the fourth quarter because the team that the Bears are facing in the wild card are a team that is going to, if they have the lead, they're going to sense if the Bears are making a comeback, and they're going to say, no, we're running the ball, because McVay is not going to do the same mistake Matt LaFleur did. And their kicker is probably better than Brandon who the fuck? I'm blanking right now. Their kicker is not this is not going to do the same thing. Brandon McManus. They're not going to. Their kicker is better than Brandon. So I want everyone to put this in perspective. And I know this is 20 minutes, but you look at it. If you made it this far, shout out to you. But Thanks for watching and bear down.